Hello viewers, welcome to Kids Auto and Truck Repair. Today we have a 2017 Mercedes GLS 450 with a 3.0 liter engine. The customer complaint on this vehicle is the check engine light remains on the dash while the engine is running, and the vehicle cranks for a while before it starts. Now, this vehicle was brought to us by a customer that has never been to our shop, so this is his first time coming to us, and he told me that when the check engine light first came on this vehicle, he went to AutoZone, they scanned the engine computer, and there was a code in the engine computer that said cam sensor, I think cam sensor 1, I don't remember, I think it's cam sensor bank 1 sensor A malfunction. So he was gonna go ahead and buy a new cam sensor from AutoZone and install it. But then he's friends with one of our customers. So his friend told him, don't just change the sensor, take it to Dio's shop, he's gonna check it out, and then he will know if it really needs a sensor, then they can change the sensor. So the owner called me, he set up an appointment, he brought the vehicle here. He told me I went to AutoZone. They told me I need a cam sensor. So how are you going to charge me to replace the cam sensor? I told him that's not how we do it here at our shop. We do the diagnosis first. We have to check the cam sensor circuit. Maybe the wiring of the sensor is faulty. Maybe it's the sensor itself. So I'm not just going to change the sensor. I have to do a diagnosis first. We have to diagnose the vehicle. If it needs the sensor, then we're going to change the sensor. So he was a little bit reluctant about paying for our diagnosis fee. I told him it could be as simple as just changing the sensor, but I'm not just going to change the sensor. I'm going to have to check the cam sensor circuit first. So the customer accepted. He said, okay, go ahead and do it. He left the vehicle here. So this vehicle could be as simple as replacing the cam sensor, or we could find other issues. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go in the vehicle and start the engine. We're going to confirm the customer's complaint. Hopefully it's going to crank for a while. We're going to show you guys the check engine light that's remaining on the dash, and then we're going to come under the hood so we can check our cam sensor circuit and see what we're going to find. So now let's go in the vehicle. I hope you guys heard that long crank. The engine cranked for a little while. So the check engine light is on the dash. If cameraman Kyler can show you guys the dash. And this vehicle has 122,000 miles, 103. So when I rev up the engine sounds good. And for a Mercedes, 122,000 miles is not a lot. Okay, so that's customer's complaint confirmed. I'm going to turn off the engine. I'm going to turn the key on. I'm going to get the scan tool connected to the vehicle, and then I'll bring you guys back up. All right, so we're going to open the hood. Oh, look at this. German engineering. This looks nice. All right, so the key is on in the vehicle. I am going to scan the engine computer. Let's see what kind of codes we have. I believe the customer told me there was P0016 trouble code in the engine computer, but like you all know, we always do a code scan to see what codes we have in the engine computer. So I'm going to scan all the control units on the vehicle to see what we got. So right off the bat, we have 3 trouble codes in the engine computer. Let me make sure we're screen recording. Oh no, we're not. We're not screen recording, sorry guys. Let me start the screen recorder. There we go. Okay, cameraman Kyler will put this up so you guys can see. Kyler is laughing at me behind the camera. I get too excited and then I jump the gun. Okay. All right, so we have 3 trouble codes in the engine computer. First code is P0219-35. It says the engine speed is too high, FM or PWM signal high time. And it says maximum pending, so that's a pending code. And then the second code is P0016-85. It says the position of the intake camshaft cylinder bank 1 is implausible relative to the position of the crankshaft. There is a signal above the permissible limit value. That's also a pending and stored code. And then we have P0011-77. It says the position of the intake camshaft, cylinder bank 1, deviates from the specified value. The commanded position cannot be reached. Interesting. Okay, so I'm seeing a pattern here. This is probably why they told him at the parts store to replace the cam sensor, because we have 2 codes for cam sensor here. So do we need a sensor? Is it a wiring problem? So we shall see. So now I would like to scroll down and see what are the trouble codes we have in the other control units. Now I am going to print out all these codes and let the customer know about the other codes that we have in other control units. But right now we're going to focus on the codes that we have in the engine computer. We have 1 code in the ABS, 1 code in the air conditioning control unit. Interesting. This is a thing about Mercedes. They always have codes on all these control units. It's very difficult to see a Mercedes that doesn't have any codes. They always have some kind of codes. All right, now on the generic side of the tool, we have P0016. And this is the code that the customer told me about, because I believe at the parts store, they use the generic scanner or code reader. So this is the code they had. It says crankshaft position dash camshaft position correlation bank 1 sensor A. So that's probably why they wanted to sell him a cam sensor. So now this code can be caused, I'm very familiar with this code, especially on these Mercedes engines. This code can be caused by, an issue in a timing, timing system, timing chain. You can have stretched timing. You can have, a defective timing chain tensioner, a defective timing chain guide. That's going to cause this code to be set. You can also have a defective camshaft sensor that can cause this code to be set. You can have a defective phaser that can cause this code. You can have a wiring problem. You can have a defective phaser solenoid that can cause this too. So now we need to figure out what's wrong, okay? We're not just going to throw a sensor. Now the other thing I also want to mention is it says cam sensor position correlation bank 1 sensor A. So sensor A is the intake cam sensor, and then sensor B is the exhaust cam sensor, because we have 2 camshafts, exhaust and intake, on each bank. So now what I want to do is I want to start the engine and listen to it. Maybe we have a timing problem. Based on how the engine sounds, I should be able to tell. If Robin can start the engine for us. Robin, can you start the engine for us, please? Let's listen to it and see if we have a timing issue, which I don't think we do, but let's listen. Yeah. You guys heard the wrong crank. The engine sounds good. Okay, you can turn it off. I don't think we have a timing chain problem. So now what I'm gonna do is, let me grab my light. We're gonna put a light here. Let's figure out where bank 1 sensor A is, and then we're gonna back probe the sensor and do some tests at the sensor. So I'm gonna figure out which side is bank 1. I don't know if it's the bank on the passenger side or the driver side. I gotta look up service info for that. Actually, I can just do it while I have you guys on the phone. Yeah, you can give me this. Thank you. I mean, I can just do it while the camera is up. I was gonna do it off camera, but let's see. Let's go to service. Actually, Robin, I'm gonna need your help if you don't mind.
No problem.
You can actually pull this cover for me. If you can just pop this cover off.
All right.
So while Robin is doing that, I am going to find our service info here. Okay, so all V6. So here is our firing order. Okay, so this is the front of the vehicle. So bank 1 is going to be the bank where cylinder 1 is. So it's going to be the bank on the passenger side. So our intake cam sensor is this one. Oh, we got lucky. This is easy to get to. So since this is bank 1, this is our intake camshaft sensor, and then our exhaust is down here. So now here's what I'm going to do. We're gonna get our lab scope test leads.
Okay.
Let's scope the intake cam sensor really fast just to see. We're gonna back probe all the wires.
Right.
Let's check out all the wires to look at the reference. This is a the 3-wire sensor. I'm sorry. This is a 3-wire sensor, so it's gonna have 5 volt, ground, and signal.
Right.
So Robin, if you can get our back probing tools.
Okay.
So we're gonna get set up. We don't have to show you this boring part. We're gonna back probe all the wires of the cam sensor, and then we'll bring you guys back up. So we have back probed the wires at the first cam sensor on bank 1. So intake cam sensor. So we back probed all the wires. So we have Robin in the vehicle. He's going to start the engine for us. Let me get our lab scope set up here. Does this need a sensor? Maybe it needs a sensor. Let's see what we're gonna find. So we're gonna turn on our first 3 channels. All right, so we have on the yellow trace, we have 11.27 volts. On the green trace, we have 4.65 volts. And then on the blue trace, we have 0.02 volts. So based on the voltages I have here, blue trace tells me that that's the ground, that's sensor ground. And then green is sensor signal. And then the yellow one is our supply voltage to the sensor. So this is the sensor that's throwing a code. Let's see if it's bad. Now go ahead and start the vehicle, please. As you guys can hear, there's a long crank. All right. The sensor is putting out a good signal, actually. All right, so our sensor ground is good. Our voltage is there. Let me see if I can filter this. Yeah, so if we filter the signal, we get rid of all this noise. Rev it a little bit. All right, hold on. Okay. You can go ahead and turn off the engine. I'm gonna analyze the data. Perfect, you can just leave the key on. Yes, so once again, our blue trace, our green trace is our sensor signal. So here's what we got, Robin.
Okay.
Sensor signal looks good. Now there's a little bit of noise in the signal. You see all this noise over here, but this is not enough to cause a problem.
Okay.
Okay, so the signal is there, so the sensor is producing a signal. Now my question to you or to our audience is, why do we have a code for bank 1 sensor A code? So the sensor on bank 1, the intake camshaft position sensor on bank 1 is throwing a code, but it's getting good power and good ground, and it's producing a good signal. So based on what I see on the scope, the sensor is good.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, it is.
So, but why do we have a code for it?
We got there are timing issues.
We might have a timing problem.
Probably.
Because right now, if we change the sensor, I can guarantee this. If we change the sensor, it's not going to fix this.
No, it's not.
So this also tells everybody. I know this, but sometimes I have to explain this to customers. This shows us the importance of doing diagnostics, of paying for diagnostics, because he's paying for our time to test this, and now we have to test more components to figure out what's wrong.
Yes.
Because if we just replace the sensor, like I said, it's not going to fix this.
Coming right back.
Okay, so if they just did what AutoZone said, put a sensor in it, it wasn't going to fix it.
No.
right?
Nope.
So now what are we gonna do next?
More testing.
More testing, right? So we have a long crank. You know, the sensor seems fine. I like the signal coming from the sensor. Our voltage is not dropping out. Yeah, look at our sensor signal. Yeah, I mean we can filter this and get rid of all this hash. Yeah, so we don't have a signal that's dropping out or missing. You know, the height, the amplitude of our square wave looks good.
And consistency.
Yeah, and it's consistent. So we don't have a problem. Now, based on how, I mean, we don't have a problem with the sensor. Based on how the engine sounds, I don't think we have a timing. Although that's a valid,
Yeah,
you know, that's a valid thing. We could have a timing issue, but based on how it sounds, I don't think we have a stretched
No.
timing chain. Usually when you have a stretched timing chain, you have a noise. You have like a clack, 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 you know, kind of noise. And also, you're gonna have a code for a lot of sensors, not just one specific sensor. You know, it's gonna throw correlation codes for a couple sensors and stuff. You're gonna have more codes than we have here. So I'm kind of gonna stay away from the timing chain. What I wanna do now is I would like to check our crank sensor signal also, because I've seen crank sensors go bad and throw codes for a cam sensor. Yes. So if you don't know that, you just go after. So don't always replace components based on the trouble code.
No.
Yeah, because I've seen sensors, crank sensors throw a code for a cam sensor, and you go ahead and replace the cam sensor. Guess what? You have a comeback.
Whoa.
So now what I want to do is I want to get to the crank sensor. We can do the same thing we did here, but I remember getting to the crank sensor on this one is a pain in the butt.
Absolutely.
It's hidden somewhere on the side of the block,
Right.
and this is a four-wheel drive vehicle.
Yes.
The front differential kind of sits because I know
Exhaust.
it's over here on the driver's side, and I don't think we can get to it. So what I want to do now is I want to look at the signal coming out of the crank sensor. So getting to the sensor is very difficult. Since the ECM is right here, I am going to find the signal wire of the crank sensor at the ECM connector. We're gonna back probe it and scope the signal wire coming from the crank sensor so we can see what kind of signal that sensor is putting out.
Good job.
And then, because I don't want to check the other cam sensors because we don't have codes for those sensors.
No.
Now we could, but right now I'm interested, or since we have a long crank, I'm interested in looking at the crank sensor first, because if you have a crank sensor that's failing or dropping out, the engine is going to crank for a long time. Because the engine computer looks at the signal coming from the crank sensor to fire the coils and the injectors sometimes.
Okay.
So if that sensor is kind of wonky or not working well, the engine computer is not going to know exactly when to fire the injectors or when to fire the coils.
Right.
And that's going to cause the long crank.
Right.
You know, so let's let me see. Let's go to service info. I'm gonna show you guys the wiring diagram really fast. Let me make sure we're still recording the screen. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, because I know this because I got burnt by it a long time ago. I got burnt on, I think it was the vehicle I'm thinking about was, I think it was a Chrysler product. I think it was a Jeep Compass.
Oh.
Yeah, it was throwing a code. It was throwing a code for a cam sensor, but it was the crank sensor that was bad.
Wow.
So let's go to wiring diagram. Yeah, you gotta learn from your mistakes.
Absolutely. So could you find out without the scope?
No, yeah, I could have found out, but back in those days, I wasn't using a scope yet.
Oh, okay.
You know, yeah. So I'll be right with you, bro. Yeah. So back in those days, I was kind of starting to learn how to use a scope.
Right.
Yeah. That's one of the cars that made me be like, you know what? I gotta learn how a scope works because if I want to do this right, I gotta acquire the knowledge.
Yes.
So let's see. Let's scroll down. I want to find the crankshaft. Yeah, so especially for this kind of stuff, if you don't have a scope, you're just going to be throwing parts at cars.
No.
And we don't want to be parts changers. You know that.
No.
Okay, so here is our crank sensor. It's a Hall effect sensor. So here, okay, so right here, here's our crank sensor.
Right.
It says left side of flywheel housing. So left side will be that side over there. So it's going to be on the driver's side.
Yes.
Now you see how some of these wires are tied together? So these are shared wires. So for example, this red and blue, this is probably our voltage, supply voltage.
Right.
And then the other one, so this one for example, this might be our ground. Okay. So I'm not worried about the wires that are shared.
Okay.
Because if we had a problem in one of those wires, it's going to affect other components.
Yes.
So since I'm just worried about the signal wire. So, I mean, that's what I'm interested in.
All right.
So the signal wire would probably be this one, this pink wire here.
Oh, okay.
Come on. Yeah, so this one, the one I just highlighted.
Right.
So we're going to follow it. Oops. If this thing can cooperate, yeah. So let's follow this wire. So the one I just highlighted is our crank sensor signal wire.
Right.
So it goes to the previous page. We're going to go back there. And right here it is. Yeah, so pink wire, it goes to the engine computer right here. Crank sensor signal. So it's pin 83, right? So since the computer is so easy to access, I don't want to fight getting to the sensor. So we're going to, I believe that's, computer has two connectors, big connector and small one. I believe it's on the big connector. We're going to remove the connector cover off camera. We're going to get access to the wires. We're going to back probe this pink wire. Okay, this pin 83 at the ECM connector. That's how we're going to access. That's the easiest way to access the crank sensor signal wire. And then we'll bring you guys back up. So we're not going to show you the boring part of back probing the wires. We will do the back probing off camera. And then I'll bring you guys back up so we can get our scope fired up and see what we're going to find. All right, guys. So we have found the crank sensor signal wire. So this is the wire. Okay. So I'm going to back probe it. So this is pin 83. Back probe it like that, and then we're going to use our red test lead. So we're going to watch our crank sensor signal wire. So now I'm going to reconnect the engine computer connector. I got to make sure that my back probing tool doesn't get disconnected or come out. I hear something running. What's that? Freaking Mercedes. Hey, I love working on Mercedes, although it seems like our crew here doesn't like Mercedes.
I have no problem with it.
Kyler doesn't like Mercedes. Do you like Mercedes? No.
I like German
Matt
cars.
doesn't like Mercedes. I like them.
I like German
Like,
cars.
I don't have a Mercedes. I would buy a Mercedes. They're nice cars.
Yeah.
Because this one is really nice, actually. Okay, so we're gonna connect the connector. Let me make sure we're making connection at the crank sensor wire. Okay, nice. Now my question to you guys is, why does Mercedes put the ECMs in front of the engine, knowing that the engine gets hot? Why do they do that? Let me know in the comment section, guy. Last week we were talking about a 2024 Mercedes Sprinter that we had here, brand new vehicle with 7,000 miles. It already came to our shop, and the ECM is right on top of the valve cover on the driver's side. Why do they do that? Okay, hold on, Robin. I will let you know when to start. Let's go to our lab scope. So now we're going to turn on all our channels. Okay, so now we know we have good power and good ground at the cam sensor. So I'm going to turn off our yellow trace and blue trace. So we're just going to look at the red trace and the green trace. So green trace will be crank sensor signal. I mean, no, blue, what am I saying? Green trace will be cam sensor signal, and then red trace will be crank sensor signal. All right, so go ahead and start it, please. Yeah. Battery's dead? Oh, battery's getting weak. Hold on. Because the key stayed on for a little while.
Yeah.
All right, that's fine. Let me just jump this really fast. Let's put a battery charger on this thing. Try it now. Oh. Look at the long crank. Okay. I'm gonna remove our battery charger. Our scope is not grounded. I'm going to ground our lab scope. Okay, you can go ahead and stop it. Yeah. No, keep the key off. Okay, so red trace is our crank sensor. Let's see what we got here. Can you go ahead and start it again?
Okay.
Let's do this one more time. Okay. Leave it running. Oh, I see a problem. Check this out. Okay. Hold on. We have a failing crank sensor. No, wait a minute. Yeah, this crank sensor. Rev it a little bit. Rev it. Rev it. All right. Okay, perfect. All right, turn it off. All right, guys, here's the problem. So, no, leave the key off. Yeah, we're good. We're done. We have a failing crank sensor. You guys will see this. Let me make sure we're screen recording. You guys will see this on the screen. Wow, this is sweet. So we have a sensor that's failing. So the red trace is our sensor signal. So look, We're supposed to have a square wave
Okay.
on this because it's a Hall effect sensor. Yeah, you see all these dropouts?
Yeah.
Yeah, look.
It's missing.
Yeah, see? There's a problem, sir. Look.
Wow.
Look, this is missing. Now my question to you is, how would you know it was a crank sensor if you didn't have a scope? How would you know if it was a crank sensor while the scan tool is telling you it's the cam sensor? Okay, bank 1 sensor A.
Wow.
Robin is holding his head.
Wow.
You gotta be using your scope, guys.
Wow.
Yes, this is data-driven diagnosis,
Wow.
like my man Bernie Thompson says. Yeah, right here.
I can see.
Yeah, you can see we got dropouts. Yeah, so this
dropouts.
this sensor is dropping out. You can literally see it right here. Look, this is missing. This is cool stuff. I love what I do, man.
Yeah,
This is
absolutely.
cool.
I can
This
see
is
that.
fun.
I love learning.
Look. Yeah. So now, the other thing that could cause this could be a ground issue or a power supply issue to the sensor. But just looking at the signal, I don't think we have a ground issue because look, our signal is actually going up because this is a Hall effect. So it pulls that signal to ground. So we have good voltage there because when the engine is running, we have about, you see where this line is? The red one. So we have, I think that's 5 volt right there. You see, 4.71. So
Okay.
our supply voltage to the sensor is good already.
Yep.
And the fact that it's coming all the way down, you see some other pulses come all the way down to near 0,
Right.
but some of them don't.
Right.
So this is a sensor failure. It's not a ground. Yeah, I can guarantee that this is not a wiring issue.
not a
When you have a
voltage.
wiring issue, the pattern is not going to look like this.
Oh, okay.
Now, this is also based on experience. I've looked at a bunch of them, so sometimes just looking at the pattern, I can tell.
Right.
But yeah, so we got to change the crank sensor, guys, to fix this.
Wow. Without the scope
Yeah, without a scope, you will miss this.
and just changing
You
the-
keep changing cam sensors, it's not going to fix it. And also the telltale sign to me was the long crank.
Yes.
Because the engine computer looks at the signal coming from the crank sensor to fire the coils. Mostly the coils, and then to fire the injectors, sometimes it also looks at the cam sensor input, but it's mostly the coils and the injectors sometimes to fire. So when it takes long, because since the sensor is dropping out like this,
Right.
the engine computer is now going to know at what position the first piston is. Is it a top dead center or bottom dead center? So it's not going to know when to fire the coils and the injectors. So that's why it's going to take a while. Because then what happens is if you have the sensor that's failing, if the signal that's coming from that sensor is not good, eventually the engine computer is going to ignore that signal and then it's going to look at the cams
Okay.
to try to gauge where the pistons are to fire the injectors and the coils. That's why it cranks for a while
Right.
and then it starts.
Right.
Because then the computer says, well, I'm going to ignore the crank. It's not giving me good data. I'm going to look at the cams and then I'll fire the engine.
Wow.
Yeah. So here's our problem. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to talk to the customer. We're going to make an estimate. I'm going to tell the customer, your diagnosis money, that's money well spent. Okay. So we're going to get a new crank sensor from the dealer,
Yes.
OEM always. We're going to get a new crank sensor. We're going to install it, and then this is going to be fixed. We won't have a long crank anymore after we replace the crank sensor. So now getting to the crank sensor is going to be a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
Do you want to do that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we're going to, I believe on this one, you got to take the axle out to get, because you have to get to it through the wheel well.
Right.
I'm sure the customer is going to give us the go ahead to do that. So Robin is going to go ahead and remove the wheel, remove the axle, drive axle on the driver's side so we can get access to the sensor.
Very good.
Yeah, so it's going to be tight. And then once we get the sensor out, we're going to replace it. This is going to be fixed. Now, we shouldn't show that, right? We're not going to show you the boring part of taking the wheel off and the drive axle. We're just going to show you once everything is out. Maybe when we're about to remove the sensor, we will bring you guys back up so we can show at least how we're removing the sensor on camera. And then we will install the new sensor off camera. So I'm gonna get the estimate ready. We're gonna get ready to remove the sensor. Before we get the sensor removed, we will bring you guys back up so we can replace the sensor together, and then we're gonna verify our repair. So I'll bring you guys back up before we do that. All right, guys, so we have the old sensor out. Robin removed the old sensor. Was it fun to remove?
Absolutely fun.
Yeah,
Yes.
a pain in the butt.
Say no more. Say no more. Say no more.
So here's the sensor. I hope you can see it right here. This is the old one, bad sensor. Okay, now this is the brand new one from Mercedes. Okay, it's part number right there. I believe that's the part number. Let me get it out of the bag. Let's make sure if they look identical. Okay, as you can see, this looks new, this looks old. They're both the same, right? What do you think, Kyler? The same? Okay. So we got this from Mercedes. We're gonna install this. We're not gonna show the installation process. Robin is gonna install this off camera. Once we get everything back together, we will bring you guys back up so we can verify our repair. We have replaced the crank sensor. So Robin installed the crank sensor. We're good to go. So now I am going to erase the trouble codes. And then I also want to look at our cam sensor waveform one last time before we wrap up the video so we can see the before and after. So we're gonna go into the engine computer. So the scanning tool has identified the car. We're gonna go straight to the ECM. We're gonna read the codes. So here are the codes that we had. I'm gonna clear them. Clear all these codes. Now let's go to functional test. Let's go to adaptations. Let's see if we have to reset or do a relearn for the crank sensor, because I know on some of these vehicles, when you change the crank sensor, you have to do a relearn. So this one does not require it. So that's it. Now let's go to our lab scope.
Go to the fun stuff.
Yeah, because I just want to show you the difference between the new one and the old one. So our red trace is going to be our crank sensor signal, and then the green trace is going to be our cam sensor signal. So now, Robin, if you can start the engine for us.
Consider it done.
Let's see how the signal is gonna look now.
Let's start now.
Yeah,
Oh, the battery.
battery?
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right, go ahead, start it.
It start
don't
right
know.
up.
It starts faster now, right?
Yep, right up.
It's fixed. What do you think, cameraman Kyler? Are you gonna show us your thumb? Cameraman Kyler, you think it's fixed? So before it was taking too long to start. We had a long crank, but as you guys heard, we no longer have a long crank now. I don't think I'm making, oh, wait a minute. I don't think I'm making good connection on the crank sensor.
Let me turn it off.
No, keep it running for a little bit.
Okay.
I think I lost connection with the crank sensor. Okay, I mean, you guys will see this on the screen. Our signal looks a lot better. Turn it off.
All right.
Start it.
Coming.
Nice.
One hit.
Turn it off one more time. Let's just check and double check ourselves.
One hit.
One kick, I guess, two kicks. All right, so turn it off. I'm just gonna analyze the data for the last time. This is fixed, guys. Okay. So as you can see on this sensor, cameraman Carlo will see this in the edit. We don't have any dropouts. Robin, you wanna come see this?
Absolutely. Turn it back on.
No, leave the key off because it's
Okay.
gonna kill the
I'm
battery.
coming.
I just want to show you this before we end the video. You'll see this one, we don't have any dropouts. Nothing is missing.
All right.
Look at the red signal.
Beautiful.
You see how it looks?
Yep.
Now, don't mind this little noise over here on the signal.
So what is those little signal out there?
Do you see this noise here? So this could be, you know, there are a lot of electrical and electronic components turning on and off while the engine is running.
Right.
It could be the ignition coil, it could be the injector. So when there are a couple of magnetic fields being turned on and collapsing, for example, the coil, there's a magnetic field that gets energized. It gets energized and then it collapses. It induces high voltage in the secondary side of the coil. So when it does that, there's of course high voltage. When high voltage get induced to the secondary winding, some of that voltage can leak into other circuits. So if it's high voltage, it can cause other issues. But if it's low, for example, on this one, this is low voltage.
Okay.
So if it's pretty low, it's not gonna cause a problem, but you can see it on the scope. Because the scope is gonna pick up those other voltages coming from those other control components.
Absolutely, because now like I'm a kid in a candy store when you
see this.
Yes, because normally a scan tool you could never see this.
Yeah.
Our regular
Or multimeter.
Yeah.
If you're using a multimeter, you're not going to be able to see this.
No.
Yes. Now, like these voltages, they're very small, so they're not going to cause a problem.
Right.
If I filter the signal, actually, let's do that. Can you go ahead and start the engine? I'm going to filter the signal.
Right.
We won't see this anymore.
All right.
Just so I can show you the difference. I always like to capture the data without the filter so I can see everything. Because when you filter the signal, it may get rid of some other important detail that you may want to see. So go ahead and start it. Okay, that's it.
Turn it off?
We're good, yeah. I like how quick it starts now, you know? Vroom. Good. That's how it's supposed to be.
German engineer.
Yeah. Okay. Although there's still a little bit, but you see how cleaner it is now? See how it's a lot cleaner?
Right.
You know? And we don't have any dropouts.
Nope.
Or any missing windows here.
Nope.
Yeah, so it's fixed. Again, we didn't have to do this, but I always like to see the before and after to just confirm, check, and
double check.
Yes, we check and double check here. That's the magic phrase in our shop. Check and double check.
Yep.
So, what do you think, Robin?
Happy customer?
Yeah.
Job well done.
We're gonna have another happy customer, right?
Yes, sir.
Job well done. No, job well done to you. Thank you, because you did the work. Thank you. So
you're welcome.
We're gonna put all the covers back off camera, and then we're gonna drive this. We don't have to take you guys on a test drive. As you guys can see, the engine starts well right now. Signal looks good. So replacing the cam sensor was not gonna fix this. Actually, let me read the code again. Can you turn the key on?
Yes.
Let's see. The code is not gonna come back, okay? But I just wanna read the codes out of the engine computer to see. And then Robin, tell us if the check engine light is on.
I will.
Start it one more time. Is the check engine light off?
No, there's no light in the dashboard.
What did he say? No way?
No light.
No
Oh,
light.
no light? Oh, okay.
No light in the dashboard.
Good. So now turn off the engine. Turn the key on. Okay, I'm gonna scan the engine computer. No codes present. So go ahead and start the engine. My light just died. Let me go grab another one. Keep it running.
Okay.
All right, guys. So we got the Mercedes out of the shop. We put all the covers under the hood back on. So now we're gonna go on a test drive and see how this vehicle drives. Remember, this vehicle has a long crank. By out of jack mode?
Yeah, it's still in jack mode. I didn't take it back out. This
Oh, okay.
that right one there.
How do you do all this one?
Press this one.
Oh, there you go.
So start it up and press it and go down. Look on screen.
Yeah, nice. You see how it's okay. Nice. We had the vehicle in jack mode because we were lifting it. So now, oh, and then it's gonna stop blinking.
Yeah, it's not blinking by itself. It's gonna sit. You
Nice.
can see, you literally see the vehicle moving about.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, it stopped. Good job, Mr. Robin.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's go in the engine computer. Let's see what we got. No codes present. So now, okay. Our long crank is gone. Let's go for a test drive and see how this baby is gonna drive. Can you hold this for me, please, Robin?
Absolutely.
Okay. So we're gonna go on a test drive. I don't think we have to film the entire test drive. We could look at some cam sensor data PIDs or, oh, something just fell down here. What is this? Oh, stuff.
Oh, right there.
Cheap.
Oh, Matt. Matt will be say, I told you.
All right, so we're gonna keep driving. And then if I see anything that catches our attention, we're gonna bring you guys back up. The vehicle drives well. As you guys heard, it cranks and starts right away. So this is good. It's fixed. What do you think, Robin?
It sounds good.
Sounds good?
Yep. Gonna be a happy customer.
Another happy customer? Good. That's what we want.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we're gonna keep driving. If we see something, we'll bring you guys back up. If not, we'll bring you guys back up once we get back to the shop so we can wrap up this video. All right, guys, we are back at the shop. We test drove the vehicle. As you guys heard, the vehicle starts right away. This is fixed. So we're gonna have another happy customer. I'm gonna leave this right over here. I hope you liked the video. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like the video, give it a thumb down. If you do, tell us why so we can make better videos in the future. What we can learn from this video is the importance of using the scope. Cameraman Kyler, thanks for being here. Thank you everybody for watching. See you guys next time.